Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLEAD Schools, Eye on the Valley, and I am your host, Matt Watson. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you tuning in with us. Our show, as you know, Eye on the Valley, is brought to you by SCVi and iLEAD Schools. We're a network of charter schools. We've got campuses in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've got a fully accredited online school. That's right, online kindergarten through 12th grade. Yes, your kindergartner can do school online, have the full support of teachers to guide them along. We've also got a burgeoning homeschool program. As a matter of fact, it was a couple weeks ago we talked to somebody from our homeschool program. They've got over 3,500 kids in our homeschool program that stretches across Southern California. It's called iLEAD Exploration. For more information on any of our schools, whether it's the more typical classroom-based or the virtual schools, you can visit us at ileadschools.org, and then you can take a virtual tour of any of our schools there, again, at ileadschools.org. So yeah, we've got our eye on education here in Santa Clarita and across the nation, but like the show says, we like to keep our eye on the valley as well, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what here in the valley, and we do it all while having a little bit of fun. I've mentioned it before, and I love it. I've got that rider in my contract that says I don't have to do anything unless I can laugh and have some fun while I'm doing it. You know, at board meetings and stuff like that, it gets me into trouble sometimes, but if you're not getting in trouble, you ain't doing it right. So look at this. It is Super Bowl weekend in LA, and look, take a look outside your window. In fact, open up that window. You're going to want to keep that window open until at least mid-afternoon because, at kickoff on Sunday, it's going to be below freezing in Cincinnati, but it'll be mid-80s right here in SoCal. That's right. So the rest of the country can just hug our palm trees, look around. How blessed are we to live where we do? We live in the most beautiful place in the world here in SoCal, and then, if you're listening to the show right now, chances are you're doubly blessed like I am to live here in Santa Clarita. So make sure that you get out this weekend and soak it up. But not yet, not yet. You stay right where you're at because we've got a great show for you this morning. Today we've got Kelvin Driscoll. Kelvin is a community activist and senior policy deputy to one of the supervisors of LA County, and he'll be with us in just a minute or two. And then in hour number 2, we will speak with co-founder of SCVi and iLEAD Schools, Amber Golden Raskin. She's going to update us on the state of charter schools in California. There's been a little bit of a shake-up, some changes, and things continue to evolve in the education landscape. So we'll talk to Amber in hour number 2 and get her update. And then, yes, those of you that are fans of my brother, what can I say? I've been dealing with him my whole life. Big T will be here at the end of the show, goofing off, playing around. He'll quiz Patty and I with some trivia, and if you enjoy trivia, you won't want to miss out. You can play along too. So here we go. Why don't you go ahead and pour yourself a cup of coffee? If you've already had your coffee, shoot, you've been good this week. Pour yourself a second, and let's do this. So like I said, my first guest today, he grew up instilled by his parents with the values of hard work and giving back to his community. So he dedicated his education and career to public service and to improving the quality of life for his community. So aren't we lucky that he chose us as his community? Kelvin Driscoll studied at USC, the American University, and the University of Puerto Rico. He's worked as an adjunct professor at Long Beach Community College and at USC with the State Education Commission on behalf of Assembly Speaker Karen Bass, as well as with the LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn to support the well-being of children and families. Currently, he works as the Senior Policy Deputy to Los Angeles County Supervisor Holly Mitchell. Kelvin lives here in Santa Clarita with his wife Giovanna, daughter Ava, and their dog Abraham Lincoln. And if I'm correct, I think there's another member of the Driscoll family coming along like real soon. Kelvin, am I right?
The Honorable, you are right. That is true. We are T-minus, I think, like 3-4 weeks away from baby Ari's arrival.
All right, baby Ari set to come in blooming this spring. That's
I
great.
know.
Kelvin, welcome back to Eye on the Valley. We're glad to have you.
Always.
And you've always been about the community. You've always been about service to the community. I was going to say from the time you were a young man, you're still a very young man, but you've already got a pretty illustrious track record of service here in Santa Clarita, the greater Los Angeles area, and pretty much everywhere you go. So can you just share a little bit about your personal and professional life? Tell us about your career trajectory, and then maybe explain why service is so important to you.
Yeah, I mean, well, first, I was looking back to see when, was the last time I got to hang out with you and Patty and your brother, and it was almost a year ago. It seems like it was April of 2021, and my goodness, how the world has kind of changed, but not so much since then. So first, I want to say thanks for letting me come back and hang out. You all do a great job, and I'm thrilled to come and talk and hang out with you anytime.
Well, you're always welcome. We appreciate that. Thanks so much.
You got it. So you kind of, hit the nail on the head. I think it really all starts from my parents, and certainly now being the dad of soon to be two, it makes me think about what kinds of values that we're instilling in Ava and soon Ari. But I think my parents just always taught us to be mindful of people who were less fortunate, right? Who didn't have as much or didn't have as many opportunities as we had. And my mom and my dad too, to some extent, but I really remember with my mom was a strong proponent of education being the vehicle by which we could make ourselves better and then turn around and give back to our community. So, I mean, that's really where it started. I mean, you mentioned USC, great opportunities while I was there, and then went into nonprofit work in the homeless sector right after graduation. And it was kind of off to the races after that.
Yeah, so you went into nonprofit work, working with the homeless, and was that something that you really found was your jam, or is it just service in general? Because you've
no. So funny. No. So when I was in school, it's so funny. When I was graduating, I was like, I want to do public sector work.
Okay.
Mainly, I wanted to go to D.C. and was actually up for a couple of fellowships with the Department of Homeland Security, and got to the final round, and then there's the heartbreak of we're going to waitlist you, and so never became a Homeland Security fellow, but always wanted to go into the public sector, and was very adamant. I wanted to do the public sector and absolutely did not want to go into nonprofit work.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know why. It was just probably me being, a young kid, not knowing anything. And that's exactly where I landed in that. I think it was the best thing ever for me in really grounding me in community and really understanding the perspective of how the public sector works in community and the everyday struggles of community members. And homelessness certainly wasn't what it was when I started in the space in 2009, but it just taught me everything. And, the bonus is that's where I ultimately ended up meeting my wife.
Oh, well, great. Fantastic. So, yeah. Double bonus. Working for the public and in the public sector it can be incredibly rewarding, but no matter what you do or how well you're doing it, you're always upsetting someone, right? You can, you can never please anyone. So that can be a little bit daunting sometimes. Have you struggled with that at all?
Absolutely. And I think, I was thinking about our conversation, and I think, one of the things that is frankly really, I think, scary about working kind of in the public sector, public space now is it seems like the conversations have just become so much more, there's so much more vitriol, I think, in public discourse, right? You've seen it before, but, even when you're kind of watching the news, right, and you're looking at some of the issues of the day, and you're looking at some of the, civic engagement from community members, some of it is really kind of off the rails, right? Some of it is great, and there are lots of constituents and organizations that we deal with every day who are wonderful to work with and, who really push and move policy forward. And that's 97% of my interactions. But I feel like that 3% can get really scary sometimes. And I have constantly wondered how we got to that place.
That's really interesting. We tend to focus on that 3%, right?
I know.
I'm a teacher, and there are days where you drive home from work and you just think, "Gosh, my class was so bad today. They were just,
I know.
then when you think back, it's like, okay, I got 27 kids, and only 3 of them really gave me a hard time, and so it's kind of hard to, but we kind of focus on that negative a little bit, and you're right about the vitriol, right? It seems like nowadays we feel the need that we've got to choose sides on every issue,
I know.
So
I know.
now, so you grew up a little bit south of here, but a few years back, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe a little bit longer now, you brought your family.
2016.
2016. Okay, so about 6 years ago, you brought your family up here to Santa Clarita. So what attracted you to this community?
Well, prior to moving here, I knew North County, but I didn't know specific cities. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I were just recently married. We got married in 2015, and we knew we wanted to buy a house. We had no idea where we wanted to buy a house, but we were searching for everything that everybody else, is searching for when they're figuring out where they're going to put down roots, if you will. I mean, we were young. We knew we wanted, good community, good schools, safe. And I'm just a proponent of open spaces. But ultimately we knew we had to be able to afford it and that we couldn't make either of our parents mad with where we chose to live because like you said, I grew up south of here in Lakewood and my wife grew up in the Central Coast in the Santa Maria area.
All right.
So we knew that one day when eventually kids would come along, we would need the support of our families. And so wanted to do our best to be kind of centrally located between both of them. So those really were the driving factors. And I mean, literally we pulled out a map and kind of went on an adventure. And it ultimately ended up being between Santa Clarita and Oxnard. And Santa Clarita won out.
Well, fantastic. So aren't we fortunate? So, like I said, you've been here 5-6 years now. Has this community been what you hoped it had been? And then nobody's perfect, although we are awesome town. How do you think what do you think we could do to improve our community, Kelvin?
That's a good question, Matt. Yes, I think so far it has been everything that we wanted it to be. Right? Ava, our daughter, is thriving. She's in a great school. That's exactly what we wanted. I think we feel safe in our homes when we lay our heads down at night. We are certainly proponents of open space and we enjoy it, and we can still afford our home and take our family on vacation, right, and do fun things, every now and then. I think one of the things I love about Santa Clarita, especially right now, is how much the city is really changing. I'm not going to sit here and say that the city doesn't have a history, right, a storied history.
Sure.
But I think, for positive or negative, depending on where you are and how you feel about the development or all of the development, I think one of the benefits of that is, the fabric of our community is really changing. And to see families that look like mine is reassuring, right, for my daughter in the world that she will grow up in, or daughters, I got to add the S now, Matt, daughters,
yes, sir.
and the world that they will grow up in. And so that's really exciting, and it feels really good.
Yeah, definitely. Our community, it continues to evolve, right? And that's kind of been, we do have our story, but our story has been of evolution. I've been out here a couple of years longer than you and seen it change, continue to change quite a bit. And I think with our city planning and how methodically we've been planned out, it's we're poised to grow and continue to lead the country in the areas that, like you said, you kind of laid it out like the billboard for our community, for safety, for growth, for prosperity. So yeah, we've got some things that we need to continue to work on, but it's a great place to live. So let's get back to your work with Supervisor Mitchell. Now, can you tell us a little bit about this? A really cool title. You are Senior Policy Deputy for the supervisor. So tell us what that means. What do you do with the supervisor? And then maybe what are some of the most pressing things that your office is dealing with right now?
Yeah, for sure. So it is a really cool title for a really cool boss. If you all are not familiar with Supervisor Mitchell and her work, I think a good Google will do your heart well. I am just a huge champion of the supervisors, and I am honored and thrilled to work with her. As senior deputy to the supervisor, my specific policy portfolio kind of falls in three areas. So I oversee child welfare policy for the supervisor, along with human services policy for the supervisor, and also legislative affairs for the supervisor. So a little, stats and scale. LA County is about 10 million residents now, and we have 36 different county departments that do everything from the library to the one that I always like to bring up is our agricultural weights and commissioners department that literally, when you go to the gas station and you pay for $5 of gas and you get a certain amount of gas, they're in charge of making sure that you actually get $5 worth of gas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the county does a lot of invisible work, but some of it is very visible, including our child welfare work and our human services work. We like to say that the county is the safety net, the social safety net for the most vulnerable residents. And so I have the privilege of talking with the supervisor on a regular basis about what we can do to really advance and really lift all boats. That's what her career has been about, and she's very clear about that's what her work will be about during her tenure on the board.
And it's like you said, there's 10 million of us, and it's a huge job because you serve communities like Santa Clarita and Beverly Hills and Bel Air, but then, you've also got some, some of the biggest social struggles in the world that are here in Los Angeles. I want to talk about some of those. We do need to take a quick break. Kelvin Driscoll joins us this morning. He's a mover and shaker here in the Valley and senior policy deputy to Los Angeles County Supervisor Holly Mitchell. Like I said, we're going to take a quick break, Kelvin, but when we get back, we'll talk Super Bowl as well as some of those real important issues that I alluded to. Y'all stick around. We'll be right back. I'm Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.
Green Thumb International, your lawn and garden professionals, have the widest variety of shrubs, flowering plants, and gardening supplies in the Santa Clarita Valley. This weekend in your garden, winter is the best time to plant spring bulbs, so you'll be rewarded with beautiful flowers and tasty and nutritious food in the upcoming milder months. Get everything you need for a home and garden at Green Thumb International on Newhall Avenue in Newhall near Sierra Highway. Green Thumb puts the green in your thumb. Find them online at greenthumb.com.
KHTS strives to give the Santa Clarita Valley all the information they need, and when our computers aren't working the way they should, we call Resurgence, your true source for IT. Resurgence provides outstanding customer service while also providing the highest technical ability. They strive to do what's best to improve and protect your business. For more information on Resurgence, call 349-4114 or visit resurgenceit.com.
Welcome to Dunkin', where you can always try something new, like the brown sugar oat iced latte, made with oat milk. How about a winter blend? Hot or iced coffee, only $2 until February 1st. If you're hungry, try the new omelet bites, bacon and cheddar, or egg white and veggies. Use the Dunkin' app, earn points, and get rewards. Dunkin' has 2 locations in the SCV, Bouquet Canyon with curbside pickup and delivery, or try the Canyon Country drive-thru. Santa Clarita runs on Dunkin'.
Make 2022 a super year at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the thrill capital of the world. Conquer the strength of the mighty Goliath, the bravery of traveling through the dimensions on X2, and the dual power of wood and steel on Twisted Colossus. Cross off adventure on your bucket list and experience unmatched thrills like West Coast Racers, the world's first single-track quadruple launch racing coaster. The new Revolution, the world's first 360-degree vertical looping coaster, and Full Throttle featuring a 160-foot loop, and first ever Top Hat, sending riders over the top of the loop. The thrill is calling you to experience the fastest, steepest, and tallest coasters in the world. Visit hometownstation.com for your chance to win free tickets to Six Flags Magic Mountain with KHTS. Get the best deals on tickets and passes when you visit sixflags.com today. Full vaccination or negative COVID test is required on select days. Details at sixflags.com.
I'm Susan Owen, managing partner at Owen Patterson & Owen. I have 30 plus years in personal injury alone. There are so many attorneys who advertise, but we are different. If you are a client of Owen Patterson & Owen, I will be your attorney. We don't need to have other people handle our cases for us. If you've been injured, call Owen Patterson & Owen, 888-OPO-WINS. And we do, 888-OPO-WINS, or go to opolaw.com.
Experience Frontier Toyota's all-new hot and exciting Toyota lineup. Serving the Santa Clarita Valley for over 30 years. Frontier Toyota, the Camry, Corolla, and Prius Kings. They're tops in Tacoma and Tundra trucks. Frontier Toyota, the new way of car buying. Shop from home at frontiertoyota.com or visit their showroom at Valencia and Creekside. Discover a whole new car buying experience with your friends at Frontier Toyota.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
And welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLEAD Schools' Eye on the Valley. This morning, I am joined by Santa Clarita Valley community activist and senior policy deputy to Los Angeles County Supervisor Holly Mitchell. His name is Kelvin Driscoll. Now, Kelvin, we can't get around it, man. The Super Bowl is in town. Are you a fan? Who have you got this Sunday?
I am, and I'm not going to out Patty in our earlier conversation.
No. Patty has outed himself.
You're right. That's right. He's already let it be known.
I have.
Rams, all the way. But as you know, I just want the consistency there. I do think it would be something really special, primarily for Aaron Donald. I just think that's such a good story for him, and the road kind of there and winning in your own, town, in your own stadium. I just think that's such a good story.
I think you're right. I'm not a Buccaneers fan, but it was a great story to see them win in Tampa Bay last year.
That's true.
And to literally bring the Super Bowl and the championship here to LA. And Kelvin, I'm with you. Aaron Donald he's a beast.
I know.
He's a monster among men is what he is. The dude is superhuman, man. He's crazy.
Now, so now the world has come to LA. At least the nation has come to LA, and I don't know if you've been down to Inglewood lately. It is just a mess down there. Everybody is everywhere. They've got everything set up and all kinds of festivities going on all week. The LA area has really been trying to clean up ahead of the game and getting rid of the graffiti and things like that. I understand that even homeless populations have been relocated and things like that. And you mentioned you've got some pretty extensive experience working with people who experience homelessness. So how do you do that? How do you relocate populations that don't have a permanent location? And what effect does this have on those people?
Yeah, it is a good point. Can I first just make a stop with Aaron Donald to also say that his work off the field is compelling. And he works a lot with even the county and some of our charitable giving campaigns and really helping us to power other organizations across the county. So not just a good guy on the field, a good guy off the field as well, too. And we're rooting for him. He's a big partner of the county. So go Aaron.
Got to tell you, I didn't realize that. That's
him
great.
and Whitworth, they're good men.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, he's just an all-around good guy. Yes, to your point, and we've recently been doing some work on this around kind of major sports and entertainment events. But, Matt, I'm sure you and Patty may have put it all together, but the Super Bowl is really the first of a big trio that the region will kind of host. Fingers crossed we'll have the World Cup. If you all have been following that, the county recently was in a bid to bring the World Cup to a couple of different of our sports venues in the region. And then, of course, we have the Olympics coming up as well, too, in 2028. And so, from the county's perspective, we kind of see this as the beginning of a lot of work that has to happen around a lot of these major sporting events.
Right.
And you're right. Literally, the eyes of the world turn to the region.
Yeah.
And, of course, the event hosts have a very, deep interest in making sure that we put forward the best picture.
Sure.
And some of that comes with controversy, right, around some of the issues of homelessness. We've been even doing some work around human trafficking. And I think what we try to do in our approach, the supervisor does represent Inglewood as a part of her district, is still move forward in a very dignified way as we work to assist our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness. Mm-hmm. Is there a little more pressure? Is the fire kind of turned up around these major events? Yes, but our teams, and I know my colleague who handles homelessness still try to instruct our county partners to move as you otherwise would, right, in respecting kind of the dignity of each person and kind of the approach that we take to getting them housed. Because permanent housing, with supportive services is always the goal, not a temporary move for a temporary event.
Okay. So moving them not just to move them out of the way of the big events that are coming, but actually improve their. That's a great idea. Improve their situation, and here we go. We're gonna look for the win-win and give y'all a step up as we make the preparations. That is fantastic.
Yeah,
so, go ahead.
I think I just have to add. I think what our team tries to do is leverage the momentum, right?
Okay.
Like if everyone's focused on this, then it's not about how do we do a quick fix, right? It's like, oh, great, the eyes of the world are focused on this area that is, the supervisor likes to say, it's not hard to serve, it's the hardly served, right? And so we always try and figure out how do we leverage the momentum of these events to surge resources, to these areas that otherwise might not get them had it not been for some of these huge events that are coming to town.
What a great perspective. How do we parlay this event to help improve
Exactly.
situation for everybody in our community?
Exactly.
That is fantastic. So you talked about this being the first of kind of a trifecta of major sporting events here in the LA area, and we've got another one going on right now. The Winter Olympics are kind of in full swing right now. The LA area, we always send a lot of athletes. We've got a ton of world-class athletes that come right out of LA County here, and so we always send a lot of our athletes from LA to the Olympics. And, you mentioned just the sheer size of our county and its economy. LA officials often attend these events themselves. Now, this year, the United States has instituted a diplomatic boycott of the games in China, meaning that our diplomats and other representatives are not going, but our athletes are still there competing. Now, China's been under tremendous global scrutiny lately over alleged human rights violations within their borders on various fronts. So where does the county stand in regards to trade and other interactions with China? Do we get involved in that in any way as a county?
The short answer is kind of, right? Maybe. Like when you think about, where trade is really held, it is at the city level. And we certainly work closely with our partners over with the city of LA. And then you think about kind of the ports. There are a couple of ports in the county of Los Angeles, the LA and Long Beach ports. And the county's infrastructure is certainly working hand in hand with federal partners, and certainly in supporting the Biden administration's message around eliminating all forms of human rights violations. Recently, the county has taken some steps. The supervisor co-authored a motion with Supervisor Kuehl on the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which was a specific group, but it called for the county to adopt the tenets, right, of that. And so you will see from time to time the county sometimes will take stances around travel to certain places for county employees or contracts, with certain entities. I don't believe there's been anything specifically related to the Olympics, but certainly are working closely with our state and federal partners on, like you said, the diplomatic boycott of the games.
Yeah, it kind of puts our country as a whole in a bit of a pickle, right? Because we certainly don't want to say that we endorse everything that's going on, but China is one of our biggest trade partners, and it would severely affect our economy if we just decided, nope, we're not gonna be involved with them at all. So
and you know this, Matt, the trickle down effect of that as well too. And I think, one of the I think outcomes of the pandemic is people learning a lot more than they otherwise might know about the supply chain and the ways in which our ports work, and those containers offshore, and what does it look like to get that couch to your door, or that dishwasher, or that that counter. So it certainly has highlighted how interconnected we are, literally as a globe, and what happens in one part of the world can have an impact on us here at home.
Yeah, definitely. And now I'm hearing those truckers up in Canada that are a little upset. That's affecting our supply chain as well. So, Kelvin, you mentioned an issue a couple of minutes ago that I wanted to dip into. Again, we're talking to Kelvin Driscoll from Supervisor Mitchell's office. You mentioned that your office has placed a huge emphasis recently on human trafficking. Can you tell us what kind of work you guys are doing in this area?
Sure, it's my pleasure. So the board actually declared January as Human Trafficking Awareness Month in the County of Los Angeles, and Supervisor Mitchell authored a follow-up motion to that, really diving deeper into these major kind of sports and entertainment events that are coming to the region, and asking for the county to really look at developing a major events protocol so that the county has a plan of action when these major events are happening. And part of that protocol will include event organizers submitting a plan to address and mitigate potential increases of child and human sex trafficking around these major events. And one of the things the supervisor has been really clear on, and she actually did, she called it Sipping My Tea with Layla Ali, who is a huge proponent and advocate in this space. She has an organization. She's a part of an organization, Athletes for Impact, and it's a number of athletes who are coming together to talk about the issue of human trafficking. But it's not the event, right? It's not the Super Bowl, right? The Super Bowl is not inherently, bad or good. It is kind of the impact of these large events that happens in the region. And the way that kind of Layla Ali put it is, when you have a surge of tourists and kind of event goers in the space, you have people who unfortunately are searching for this product. And there's a lot of research around increases in human trafficking around the months of January and February, which is when the Super Bowl happens.
Sure.
And so we've been really diligent about working with organizations like Athletes for Impact and some of our local community-based organizations in this space to just help people become more aware, right, of what happens around these major events and really what they can do.
Oh, so what can folks do? I know you guys work to educate parents. So what can parents and other folks in the community do? What should they be on the lookout for?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would really, one of the things that we always talk about in this space is, it's not the Liam Neeson kind of Taken, right? Like they think that's what everyone kind of thinks of when they think about, human trafficking. It really actually, Matt, comes from a prevalence of increased online social media activity and really unsupervised online, social media activity. So just really encouraging the parents to just be mindful, right, of what your kids are doing on social media and who they're talking to. And of course, trying to find that balance between them having agency, right, and having, autonomy, but also being mindful of this happens, there. And one of the things the supervisor said was a big takeaway for her in being on a panel with victims of trafficking is, what she could do and who she could call. And what she said was that one of her takeaways is that she would put the National Human Trafficking Hotline number in her phone so that once she kind of went through the training and kind of was trained to know what to look for, that she would have somewhere, to call if she saw anything. And I'm happy to share that number with your audience so that they can also have the information. But we really would encourage anyone to, visit the supervisor's social media handles. There was a PSA that was recently released around this, and we'll continue our work throughout the year, because it's not just about combating human trafficking around major sporting events, but really throughout the year and all the time, because it's constantly going on.
Yeah, definitely. So this is a number that, if we see something that we're a little concerned about and may think that this might be a case of human trafficking, we can call this number and folks will investigate it?
Yeah, let me give it to you.
Yes,
Ready?
please. Yeah.
It's 888-373-7888. So again, it's 888-373-7888. Or you can also text the words "Be Free," BEFREE, to 233-733.
Fantastic. So either texting "Be Free" to 233-733 or calling 888-373-7888.
That's right.
Fantastic. Kelvin Driscoll is the policy deputy to the Los Angeles County Supervisor, Holly Mitchell. Kelvin, I understand you're actually heading into a meeting with the supervisor in a couple of minutes here.
I am.
You're doing great work, Kelvin. I want to thank you for joining me this morning, and thank you for all you're doing in our community. You have a great weekend, sir.
Matt, you too. Thank you. Anytime you want to talk, I'm up for it. And Patty, it's always good talking to you, but I don't wish you luck.
Wow, throwing shade Patty's way.
That's fine. Much love, Kelvin. Much love. I get it. We're rivals for the Super Bowl.
You got it.
Respect.
Keep doing what you're doing, gentlemen. You're doing a great job, and we appreciate y'all.
Thank you, sir. You enjoy the game. Again, have a great weekend. I am Matt
Thanks,
Watson,
Matt.
and you're listening to SCVi and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS.
This is Carl Goldman. With today's challenges of running KHTS, I often struggled to fall asleep. Then I discovered MyPillow mattress toppers. Now I no longer struggle to get a good night's sleep. Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow, wants to give back to our listeners. Get deep discounts on MyPillow mattress toppers, towels, and so much more. For example, Mike is offering a buy one, get one free offer on Giza sheets. These sheets are unbelievably comfortable. All MyPillow products come with a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. Go to MyPillow.com and click on the radio listener specials for the buy one, get one free offer on Giza sheets. Enter promo code KHTS or call 800-973-3927 for these great specials. That's 800-973-3927. Use promo code KHTS.
It's great to be in Santa Clarita. This is Charlie Kirk inviting you to join me every weekday from 4 till 7. We'll be exploring the latest craziness in the news with my humorous, enlightening perspective. It's a fun, entertaining, and illuminating 3 hours. So let's stay informed together as we free thinkers unite weekdays from 4 to 7 on Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220 and 98.1 FM.
19, 20. Hey, Ned, why you doing push-ups? The truck says Pacific Air, not Ned's Health Club.
Are you kidding? I'm doing push-ups to keep my body in shape, just like our Elite Club membership helps people save money and keep their heating and air systems in great shape all year.
That's great, Ned, but put your shirt back on. The neighbors are starting to look. Get in the truck, Ned. Mark and Kaylee for Pacific Air.
Just like going to the gym can keep your body running strong,
regular heating and AC maintenance can keep your system running strong.
Pacific Air's Elite Club membership will save you money on all your tune-ups and maintenance. You'll also get priority service.
Plus, Elite Club members receive a whopping 30% off all system repairs and a lifetime warranty.
No surprises, just exceptional service, because nobody cares like Pacific Air. We think you'll say,
wow!
When you want the best, call Pacific Air.
Learn more about Pacific Air's Elite Club membership at pacair.com.
It's time to enhance your natural beauty at Hestia Medical Spa. Select from a large menu of services, including an assortment of fillers that can be used in the face, lips, hands, and a variety of other body parts. Get rid of that double chin with Kybella, an injectable treatment to permanently destroy fat cells under the chin. Hestia Medical Spa also offers Botox, Dysport, and Xeomin to help reduce severe frown lines. Experience rejuvenation at Hestia Medical Spa, located on Valencia Boulevard next to City Hall. Call 753-3434 or go online to hestiamedicalspa.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, your host, and you're listening to SCVi and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. So, all right, y'all, we had a good time playing around with Kelvin Driscoll talking about Super Bowl weekend. That's right, the big game is being played right here in town at Sofi Stadium down in Inglewood this Sunday between, as if you hadn't picked up on it already, those upstart Cincinnati Bengals. You know, I call them upstarts because, you know, they won a total of 6 games over the last 2 years combined. This year, they finished the regular season with a respectable but not a great record of 10-7, you know, enough to get them into the playoffs.
That's fair. That's fair.
But they got hot at the right time and have just gone on an absolute tear. The Bengals have won 6 out of their last 7 games, including steamrolling right through the toughest teams in football and the Raiders.
Oh!
Well, here they are now in the Super Bowl, and they're facing the hometown heroes, the team that Coach Sean McVay has been dreaming of, right? The team that General Manager Les Snead has mortgaged like the next decade to put together. They've traded all of their first-round picks to assemble this team. The team that Engineer Patty guaranteed a Super Bowl victory by picking against them. That's right. For the 3rd game in a row, Patty has picked against the Rams, as you heard earlier. All I know is that it's going to be a great game. It's got to be a great game with the playoffs that we've had. These have been just the best playoff games anybody can remember in years. And while the city of Cincinnati is staring down the barrel of temperatures below freezing all weekend long, the teams are actually going to have to contend with the heat here in Los Angeles.
I know, right?
As the forecast says, it'll be mid-80s for kickoff. It's just going to be an absolutely beautiful weekend as the country turns its eyes to Los Angeles, and it's going to be a beautiful game, I'm sure. So what about you? Have you decided, well, what you're going to serve at the Super Bowl party? Or are you going to somebody else's place, and what are you bringing? You know, I'm a simple guy, and I'm a bachelor. I got to keep it simple. I do the cream cheese and pepper jelly thing, you know, with the Ritz crackers. You know, everybody loves it. And it's got the creamy, it's got the zing, and the savory and the sweet. And so, you know, I might do some brownies too. But everybody loves the cream cheese with the pepper jelly thing. And like I said, it's super easy. So, you know, speaking of Super Bowl foods, I always like to take a look at the lists, right? The lists of what we as a nation eat during the game. So let's take a look at some Super Bowl food facts for this year. You know, Super Bowl Sunday is the 2nd largest food holiday in the United States, second only to, you guessed it, Thanksgiving. Unlike Thanksgiving, however, Super Bowl Sunday is one of the most popular days of the year to order takeout. In fact, 1 in 7 Americans will order takeout on Super Bowl Sunday. And you guessed it, they're mostly taken out pizza. So yeah, lots of folks ordering pizza for Super Bowl Sunday. As a matter of fact, Domino's alone will sell 12 million slices of pizza this weekend, and they're not the only pizza place that delivers. But if you're going to want to get your pizza delivered for Super Bowl Sunday, you're probably going to want to call in the next 5-10 minutes because otherwise it's going to take several hours to get your pizza. Now, pizza is the 2nd most popular food eaten on Super Bowl Sunday. Patty, do you know what the first is?
I'm gonna assume, and now we're not talking. We're talking pure food, right?
Just second most common eaten food on Super Bowl Sunday, or first most common.
I'm gonna say first is chips.
Nope.
Ooh.
Nope. We eat a lot of chips, but the most common food eaten on Super Bowl Sunday is chicken wings.
Ah,
That's
that
right.
makes sense.
The National Chicken Council estimates that Americans will eat more than 100 million pounds of chicken wings this Sunday. That's about 1.25 billion with a B, 1.25 billion chicken wings. And over half of Americans prefer eating their chicken wings with a side of ranch dressing for the dipping. You know, let's see, veggies. Veggies are also a popular dippable snack, but the most popular dippable are potato chips. You got it. So, yeah, we're going to eat about a little bit more than 11 million pounds of potato chips this year, Patty. So 8.2 million of those are going to be tortilla chips, another 4 million pounds of pretzels, and those might get dipped as well. Let's see. The weekend of Super Bowl is the second biggest grilling week of the year, right after 4th of July, right? Pretty typical. Nearly 14 billion burgers will be served this year, and 13.9 billion of them will be eaten. Patty, you finish your dinner?
Yes, yes, Papa.
Now, 32% of Americans say they plan on eating some form of dip on game day, and so that will result in the consumption of 8 million pounds of guacamole. Yeah, holy guacamole. Let's see. During Super Bowl 14, over 40,000 sausages and hot dogs were consumed at the game alone. More than 40,000 at the game alone. So, yeah, once game day comes to an end, antacid sales increase roughly about 20%. The Monday after Super Bowl, and around 1.5 million Americans are going to call in sick to work on Monday. So as a matter of fact, the city of Cincinnati has been so proactive, they've already canceled classes for every public school on Monday. So, yeah, very proactive of you, Cincinnati. For those of you that are wondering about commercials, yep, NBC has set a new record for the cost of a commercial, and that cost is coming in this year at $6.5 million for a 30-second spot. Yep. So whatever you're eating, whoever you're cheering for, enjoy the game, ladies and gentlemen. And for the love of all that is holy, if you don't have a ticket, stay away from Inglewood this weekend. You don't need that chaos in your life.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. We're going to go ahead and get out, but we will be back soon. I am Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLEAD School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com. Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you.
A royal
A Royal Suite Home Furnishings has been family-owned and operated in Santa Clarita since 1978. They keep America working by stocking heritage-quality furniture made right here in the USA. With high-end design and thousands of fabrics to choose from, a Royal Suite offers a wide selection of furniture at incredibly low prices. Pay 0% interest with your approved credit for 12, 24, 36, or 48 months. See store for details. Visit A Royal Suite, massive showroom on Carl Boyer Drive near Sam's Club in Santa Clarita.
A royal suite.
Sweet dreams. KHTS, AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 9 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
A state of emergency just declared over the trucker protest in Canada. Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Premier of Ontario, Douglas Ford, says the vast majority of truckers protesting a vaccine mandate peacefully demonstrated and then went home. He's urging the rest to leave or face possible criminal charges.
We cannot, and I emphasize cannot, have people occupying cities, holding them hostage, holding millions and millions of people hostage.
Ford says the Freedom Convoy protest has become a political statement depriving people of livelihoods. Automakers on both sides of the border having to scale back production as key border crossings are blocked, including the Ambassador Bridge to Detroit. Today is the vaccine deadline for municipal workers in New York City. Several thousand could be fired, including some police and firefighters. President Biden has a plan to get money to the Afghan people, signing an executive order that would allow frozen assets to be split between humanitarian relief in Afghanistan and families in the U.S. who sued over 9/11.
When the Afghan government collapsed last year, the country left behind $7 billion in assets on deposit with the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. While the Taliban claimed it had a right to the money, the Fed froze the funds. Relatives of those killed in the 9/11 attack said they should get some of it to pay off judgments owed them after successful lawsuits against the Taliban.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, a Taliban spokesman, is criticizing President Biden for not releasing all of the funds to Afghanistan, which has a humanitarian crisis as other countries refuse to recognize a Taliban-led government. Arraignment day for the man accused of plowing into a Christmas parade in Wisconsin, killing 6 people, injuring dozens. 39-year-old Darrell Brooks Jr. facing 77 charges. The defense has filed a motion for a change of venue. America is listening to Fox News.
When you fill your prescriptions at Walgreens, you can track the progress of your order in real time. Know the price of your prescriptions before you go to pick them up. And anytime you have questions, use Pharmacy Chat to ask an expert 24 hours a day. Help with your meds from Walgreens. Side effects may include breathing a little easier because your prescription stress melted away. Learn more on the Walgreens app.
This price isn't final. This is an estimated price based on your insurance coverage.
Has this ever happened to you? My friend was telling me about his new pair of headphones, so I looked them up online. Now, everywhere I go is a creepy ad for those headphones I looked at one time. I hate that feeling like I'm being watched. I got DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers, all for free. It's that simple. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Ukraine remains surrounded by Russian troops as diplomatic meetings continue. UK Defense Minister Ben Wallace meeting with his Russian counterpart today in Moscow.
I was clear about the tragic consequences that any invasion of Ukraine could have for all people, both Ukrainian, Russia, and the security of Europe.
Wallace says Russia still insists it's not planning to invade. An urgent legal process in motion at the Olympics after a Russian figure skater who's one of the favorites failed a drug test.
4 days after teenager Kamila Valieva helped the Russian team win gold in the team figure skating at the Winter Olympics, it's been confirmed the 15-year-old failed a drugs test in December.
Such cases are not helpful to the Games.
Olympic spokesperson Mark Adams is hoping for a rapid ruling in the case, which has gone to the Court of Arbitration for Sport.
We all need to see as quickly as we can a resolution of this, and we are working as fast as we can.
It's not clear why it took so long for the test result to emerge. In London, Simon Owen, Fox News.
A viral online game may have saved a woman's life.
An 80-year-old Illinois woman held hostage in her home for 17 hours, rescued thanks in part to the popular game Wordle. A naked man holding scissors woke Denise Holt Sunday morning, threatening her, according to reports, forcing her to take a bath with him wearing her nightgown, and eventually locking her in a bathroom. Holt's daughters on the West Coast, alarmed she didn't share her Wordle game score, part of her routine, or read text messages, alerted police, and that's when officers discovered suspect James Davis. A SWAT team used a stun gun to subdue him. Charges against Davis include home invasion with a dangerous weapon and aggravated kidnapping.
Fox's Lillian Wu. Stocks are mixed and fluctuating amid inflation anxiety. Right now, the Dow's up 5 points, the S&P and the Nasdaq lower. And Lisa Brady, this is Fox News.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks have been trading mixed to higher on a day after a sell-off blamed on January's stronger-than-expected consumer price index. Americans are feeling much less optimistic about the economy this month. The University of Michigan's gauge of consumer sentiment has declined to the lowest reading since October of 2011. Investment firm Apollo Global Management reported a lower profit for the recent quarter. The Wall Street Journal says Apollo is near a deal to buy European payment service Worldline. Zillow shares are rallying, though it lost millions on its closed house flipping business. Zillow's core real estate business improved in the recent quarter. Ford shares are higher. Reuters says Ford might be making electric vehicles in India, possibly for export and the local market. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola. Invested in you.
Inflation just broke a nearly 40-year record thanks to Biden's out-of-control spending, and every second you are losing more of your hard-earned savings. But you can fight back. With a gold IRA from Birch Gold, you can protect your retirement from this outright theft. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I'm one of the Birch Gold's many happy customers. To learn how to set up your own gold IRA, text the word SHELTER to 989898. Do it now, today. Text SHELTER to 989898.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220, Canyon Country, California. K260CO 98.1 FM, Santa Clarita, California.
SCVi is a tuition-free TK through 12 charter school that gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely. We offer a customized learning program built around your child's unique interests and strengths, with the only international baccalaureate program in all of Santa Clarita. Our approach keeps students and families in step no matter where your learning is taking place. Be empowered to make your mark on the world at SCVi. To take a tour or enroll now in our one-of-a-kind program, visit iLEADSantaClarita.org. iLEAD Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
Moms, dads, this is Cardin Ellis, owner of Unipest. If your house has ants, spiders, or gophers, or you want a free orange oil termite inspection, you have to call Unipest Termite and Pest Control, Santa Clarita's only factory-certified orange oil pest control company. We specialize in organic, low-impact, and traditional pest control options that are all kid-friendly, pet-friendly, and affordable with no contracts, and we're SCV owned and operated. Call us at 661-BUG-7575 or visit unipest.com.
The shows must go on. The Main in Santa Clarita is your destination for free online music, theater, art, and entertainment opportunities. Tune into fun variety nights, join a talent show, learn from filmmaking experts, attend a modern play, and more from the comfort of your home. For more information and to view upcoming events, go to facebook.com/themainnewhall or at themain.org. Enjoy the shows.
Accidents happen, but rest assured Patterson's Collision Center is here to help. Patterson's is a family-owned and operated collision repair facility providing the Santa Clarita Valley with premium collision repairs. Patterson's prides itself on being the only California-certified green repair shop in all of Santa Clarita. They are insurance claim specialists and even offer payment plans for your deductible. For personalized, friendly service, visit pattersonscollisioncenter.com or call 294-1011 and let Patterson's Collision Center help ease your worries today.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
And welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson. I am your host. You're listening to SCVi and iLEAD School's Eye on the Valley. We're coming to you live from the KHTS studios here at the center of Main Street in beautiful downtown Newhall this morning. And my next guest is a longtime local resident of Santa Clarita. She had herself a very successful career in the entertainment industry, but she set it all aside to help build a better community for her children and for yours. Amber Golden Raskin graduated with her bachelor's degree from Cal State Long Beach and launched her career in the industry. But her story would bring her to Santa Clarita, and her passion would bring her into the education field. In 2008, she launched SCVi, Santa Clarita's first classroom-based charter school with 75 students. And today, less than 15 years later, it has grown into a network of schools across Southern California of nearly 6,500 students, as well as a partner organization that provides support to schools nationwide. Amber regularly supports other organizations, is a requested international speaker, and presents at conferences around the country and around the world. Amber is a systems thinker with a deep understanding of the creative process and believes that the systems and processes in any organization should conform to human behavior and the people that use them rather than the other way around. An entrepreneur and innovator at heart, she travels domestically and internationally as often as possible. Amber, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So glad you're here. You know, I was looking back. It's been a long time since we've had you on the air, so we're glad you could join us again.
Yeah, I love coming on, and I regret that it's been a long time, and I thank you for that beautiful introduction. Thank you so much.
Oh, of course. You know, your story and your career path is beautiful and inspiring. You know, but some people, especially, you know, here in Southern California, to make it in the entertainment industry is the goal, and you had done that. And then you stepped away. So walk us through that a little bit. You left that successful career in entertainment and in 2008 founded a charter school here in the Santa Clarita Valley. What made you decide to leave the entertainment industry and get into education?
Well, it's really a labor of love. And, you know, they say necessity is the mother of invention. Mm-hmm. I did love my career in entertainment. It was actually kind of short looking back, but when I went into entertainment, which wasn't what my degree was in, I did fall in love with it. I did find my home, but then, and I did get promoted rather quickly, which was a surprise to me and speaks to my story in education because I didn't have a great experience in school. I went to a really good school district in Orange County, Newport Beach, growing up, but I felt like I fell through the cracks when I was in school. And so then when I went into entertainment and was promoted and found that I had a great skill set for that, I thought there was a mismatch between how successful I did not feel in my K-12 journey and then how I was successful in entertainment. And so then when I moved in 1998 to Santa Clarita to raise my children here, who are now in college, or well, one's graduated from college and one's in college, I wanted to stay home. So that was what I did. I stayed home for about 8 years. I loved the community. I loved volunteering. I just threw myself into volunteering all over the place, well, you know, centered around my kids. And then when they got to the age to start kindergarten, the schools are great. That's why we moved here. They're great district schools. Right. But what I found very quickly was that what happened in my own journey when I was a kid, I saw my daughter who in preschool getting closer to go to kindergarten, and then once we put her in kindergarten, was that she just wasn't going to fit into the traditional box. And while the schools are doing a fantastic job and some of the best in the country, the district schools, it wasn't going to suit the priorities I had. And so for my kids, and more importantly, watching her personality, because she was the oldest, I thought she needed something creative and flexible, and she needed us to be able to move around her learning style. And what I saw a lot of, and this is really nationwide, worldwide, in fact, was that the system of education that we've got seemed to, in my assessment, really be stale. It really seemed to be, while it's working well, even when we're doing it well, it didn't seem to be changing with the times. And this was right around when Facebook and the iPhone were brand new. So things were shifting by, putting computers in our hands and shifting the way we learned a lot in those days. And now, looking back, you can see kind of what's happened, but there was clearly things being disrupted all over the place. Mm-hmm. And I felt like the education system, or at least for my daughter, we needed that. So looking around at the options, I thought, well, maybe we'll just do private school, and but then when I looked at the private schools, and this is why I say the system of education worldwide is really very, it just hasn't changed in a lot of years. Even the private schools taught the same way. It was the same thing, but maybe a smaller class size, maybe a little more personal, smaller school, but it was still the same method of education. So looking around, I learned about project-based learning, and I thought that was just a beautiful way to learn. It was naturally the way I learned. And being my offspring, I figured my daughter and then later my son, it would benefit them. And what I learned really in looking around too was that, in doing some self-discovery and some family discovery, I realized that we were entrepreneurs in our hearts, in our DNA. We were entrepreneurs. And but generations back, many generations, both sides, both paternal and maternal side, and also on my children's father's side, also entrepreneurs all over the place. And that really requires a different skill set than what, especially at that time, we were focusing on was the test, passing tests. And while the content knowledge on the test is important, there was so many other skill sets that I was interested in seeing my kids develop, particularly around what they're interested in, knowing what they're interested in, which was a struggle for me also. When I graduated high school, I didn't know what I was interested in. I kind of felt lost about not really having exposure, because at home my parents weren't able to really provide that guidance, and I didn't have the opportunity at school either to really look into my passions. So I thought that was another thing that I wanted my kids to be able to do, and knowing how to lead a team, how to be project managers, how to look at all the different pieces of something that they want to see happen around a project they're interested in. So I set out to find it, and it didn't exist. And it didn't exist in private schools. I learned about these crazy things called charter schools. Back then, about 15 years ago, the general public didn't really know what they were. Most people thought charter schools were private schools, and that you had to pay to go. And when I heard about them, I thought, kind of crazy. In fact, I heard Gary Hart speak, who was part of the legislator that passed the initial charter legislation in California. Right. And he just passed away a few weeks ago. I heard him speak in person and got very inspired about the possibility of charter schools, because they provide choice for people who can't afford private school, for lower income, middle income community members who would like something different. They can choose just by maybe putting a little extra effort into driving their kids to a different part of town. And I thought, wow, we need that in Santa Clarita. We don't have that in Santa Clarita, which I just moved to. Loved the community. Well, at this time wasn't just moving, but I'd been here for a while. Loved the community, and I thought, I want to give this gift instead of paying for private school. I'd like to give this gift to the community so that my own kids can go, but also the community can benefit. And ultimately, that's what came to pass. And there's a lot in between that happened. It wasn't an easy process, but it's a rewarding process. And even to this day, as we've continued to grow, it's been a very rewarding process, being able to provide this other kind of choice. And it's also a part of the process is always becomes educating about why we do things, because we very intentionally do things in a different way. But when people tour, they can see that there's a clear difference between the way our schools look and feel and the way traditional schools look and feel. So there's constantly researching to add refined programs and having people who are interested in having their kids attend, or just general community members knowing why we do things differently.
Yeah, you mentioned the tours. I know at SCVi they give free tours for prospective families on Fridays. As a matter of fact, we've got one starting in just a couple of hours, I think. So yeah, if you're interested, doesn't cost anything. Go take a look and see what it is that we do differently. And you bring up an interesting point, Amber. You said you opened a school as an option for your kids, and I know that you were aware of some families that were kind of like-minded and wanted this option. But I've heard you tell the story that you figured initially that this would be a kind of a small school, right, for the few families that were interested in something like this. You started with 75 families, but as I mentioned, just a decade and a half later, you're pushing 7,000 here. What happened? How did that, what changed from just one small school here in the community to something that's grown across Southern California and now reaching out nationwide?
Well, it was a very organic process, and you're right. I just thought, a small little school for my kids for my kids in the community would be a very small boutique option. I figured 100 kids would be great, maybe on up to 500. And keep in mind, SCVi is, the founding school is TK through 12th grade. So not having a background in education, I learned as we went, and then getting connected with Dawn Evenson, my co-founder and co-leader, we started to figure out that we probably, for operational reasons, needed to grow a little bit more. But we didn't seek it out. It came to us. We, in the first year, we started with 75 learners, as you said, and then in the second year we moved and we tripled in size. And that was rough. That was a really tough year because we had spent all year, the first year, sort of developing what we had written on paper, what that actually looked like in reality, and developing systems and processes and policies, and then tripling meant we needed to start it all over again because we were outnumbered with new people.
Right.
So that was organic growth right there. We went from at the end of the year, we ended the year with about 125 and went to about 450 in year 2. And then around year 4, we actually saw Reed Hastings speak at the charter school conference, in a national charter school conference, and he said good schools replicate. And we're like, okay, but we don't want to just be big. That's not the point. The point for us is to do things differently.
Sure.
And but then we started talking to some people in Dawn's hometown, which is Lancaster, and in particular the mayor of Lancaster, who's still the mayor today, Rex Paris, and he toured SCVi and he said, this is a great model. We need this model in the Antelope Valley.
Yeah.
So ultimately, that's what came to pass, but only because there were people that wanted it here. And I say that because, again, we're not, the purpose of charter schools is to provide something unique and different. We're not in this for the quote-unquote business of it. In fact, we're a nonprofit, and there's a lot of different nonprofit entities in our network, but all of them are nonprofit. And you must be legally a nonprofit in California to operate a charter school, which is fine by us because we're only doing this as a service to the community. So growing to Antelope Valley was because there were people that wanted us. Growing into Agua Dulce was because they requested us. The community requested us. The authorizer in that situation requested us.
Yeah.
There was another charter school that had closed down, and the parents were being left without any school, so they asked us to come in, and we rallied and in 6 weeks got a school approved and going in Agua Dulce because that's what the community wanted and needed. The same thing with our exploration program, which is a homeschool program. that's organically grown because there's such a desire and need and demand for it. So we have continued to expand in that way organically, and where we're requested. We are, because we're so different, we do not want to force ourselves on anybody. It's so important that this is a choice for people. And that's one of the beauties of charter schools, is that the intent of it almost 30 years ago when the law was passed in California was to try new things, to try different things. And by the very nature of it being a choice for families, they are they're not obligated to try this experiment. And I say experiment, but it's going pretty well because it's been 15 years and there's a lot of people who've come through our system and amazing alumni that have graduated and are now thriving because they've gone through this strengths-based, social, emotional, focused environment.
Well, it's a journey, not a destination, right? They call America the great experiment, and so how's it going? So far, so good, right? So you mentioned that we grew from Santa Clarita to Lancaster because the mayor really pushed to get us out there. Agua Dulce because the school board requested we come out there. Something similar with our homeschool program, our online school, same thing. The authorizer came to us, and so we've really grown. But those are a lot of different options. It's not SCVi stamped all over Southern California. You offer a lot of different educational options, from what folks consider the more regular seat-based school to an independent study, online, homeschool. You've even got some programs that are hybrid, where kids are on campus sometimes and working from home sometimes. Why have you decided to offer so many different options? Because this can become a little bit difficult to handle as an organization, right?
Well, yeah, and that's a really good question, because some people think, oh, that's so convoluted. You should make one widget and just keep replicating that widget. And that might work in business, but I don't think it works with young humans. I think that that's the future of school and learning, not just schools, but learning, which one of the things I discovered in researching was that different children in the same family, the same children in a different year, they might need a different way to learn from year to year. And that certainly was the case with my own daughter. She homeschooled some years. She went to site-based schools other years. Some years she did hybrid. And so I found what really our kids need is flexibility and choices. And really, we call that personalization. I mean, you can personalize and customize your shoes. We can customize and write our own books now. Yeah. So the model of one person reading books, which used to be scarce when the model was invented, reading a book and then reciting it back with the contents of the book to a classroom full of people, that was done when the technology of books was the most advanced technology we had. Now that we can write our own books, that's what I think we should be working with our kids to do, is creating their own books. And so that kind of customizing the way you're learning in a given year at a given time, or with each child in a family, those sort of options and customization and choice, that is the critical piece. Because really, I look at my own two children, and I'm sure every parent out there will relate to this. They learn very, very differently. Yeah. My son is more structured. He's an excellent test taker. He was 1 point off on the ACTs. He got a near perfect score and did get perfect in English. However, he struggles with some of the social emotional project management side of things. Okay. My daughter, on the other hand, she's more like me, not as great of a test taker, but she is fantastic as a project manager and working with people and making those pieces happen. So knowing that we want them to develop their strengths. I just heard yesterday that somebody calls that a triangle, that a lot of times we put we put square kids in a round hole, and we do that by knocking off the edges. So we name them to put them in that round hole. And really what we want to do is create triangles where they know what their strengths are, and those strengths are at the tip, and they lead with those. And then the other pieces that there are challenges for them, they're working on them so that they're well-rounded, but they're feeling that motivation and that reinforcement and that confidence in the areas that they're strong, instead of focusing on the deficits all the time. And so that's what happened with my daughter, absolutely. And I guarantee that wouldn't have happened if she was in a traditional education, because it's all about what's fixing what's wrong. And we focus on what enhancing what's working. And so that's what we're doing when we are flexible in the method of delivery of their learning. And that's why we organically round up offering so many different ways to learn, because they're all project-based learning. We're always doing project-based learning with a focus on social-emotional learning. But whether you're sitting in a seat or doing it online or a combination of both, or creating your own, you can still have projects around all of that and do that in your best learning style.
That is so awesome, providing a personalized education the way your child needs it when they need it. We're talking with co-founder of SCVi and iLEAD Schools, Amber Golden Raskin. When we get back, charter schools have been under some scrutiny lately, and so Amber, I want to talk to you about where we're at right now and what the landscape looks like. I'm Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLEAD Schools' Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.
Do you suffer from peripheral neuropathy in your hands or feet? One drug after another, continuing numbness, tingling, burning pain, balance problems, decreased quality of life? Are you experimenting with drugs like Lyrica, Neurontin, gabapentin, Cymbalta with limited success and your doctor telling you just have to live with it? My name is Dr. Thomas Pilecki, DC, host of Get Better with Dr. Pilecki and founder of Neuropathy Dr. X. I'm here to tell you that there is now a non-invasive natural solution to your neuropathy right here in Santa Clarita. A solution that addresses the underlying causes, and we're proud to say that we have an 87 to 97% success rate with neuropathy sufferers in getting their lives back. I'd like to invite you to our next seminar, when we'll teach you how to reverse this deadly condition that affects over 50 million Americans today. To reserve your spot now, call 753-9340. This is a free seminar, but seating is limited, so call 753-9340 now.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you.
Once heart attack symptoms begin, delaying treatment increases the risk of heart damage, disability, and even death. Time is critical. Leading the Valley with the most advanced digital technology and treatment times that beat national best practice goals, Providence offers emergency coronary angioplasty and stenting performed by highly trained board-certified cardiologists. For more information, call 1-888-HEALING. The road to healing leads to Providence.
SCVi is a tuition-free TK through 12 charter school that gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely. We offer a customized learning program built around your child's unique interests and strengths, with the only International Baccalaureate program in all of Santa Clarita. Our approach keeps students and families in step no matter where your learning is taking place. Be empowered to make your mark on the world at SCVi. To take a tour or enroll now in our one-of-a-kind program, visit iLeadSantaClarita.org. iLEAD Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLEAD Schools' Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson, and I'm joined this morning by Amber Golden Raskin, co-founder of SCVi and iLEAD Schools. Amber, You talked a lot about your journey in charter schools, and even now in 2022, I get questions from folks that indicate to me that there's still quite a bit of misunderstanding around what charter schools are. Even though we've been around for over 25 years here in California, can you explain just a little bit to our listeners? For example, lead me through some of the common misconceptions of charters. Maybe I can just pepper you with some questions, and then whether you answer them directly or just kind of explain a little bit. How are charters different from public schools? Do you charge tuition? Aren't charters, I've heard, offered or operated by for-profit organizations that want to kind of skim money off the top of our kids' education? Some say that charters are just for communities, for example, where schools are failing, and so we don't need them in communities like Santa Clarita. Can you explain a little bit about what charters are and why they exist?
Sure. So California was the second state in the nation to pass a charter school law, and they were really originally passed because I think at the time what I hear is that it was a lot of the conversation was around vouchers, school vouchers, and there was not much of an appetite for vouchers, but there was a growing request for them. So this experiment of charter schools came about, and the idea when they passed them was to really give options, as I mentioned earlier, and in some failing school areas where schools were really failing, there were groups that were saying, "Look, let us try. We think we can do it." That's like the KIPS and the Green Dots, and they really did come in and do a fantastic job of really shifting the culture and the dynamic in some communities that had really never seen successful schools. And then there were other areas, rural areas, and the suburbs where people wanted choice. And so what that's kind of come down to being described as is there's sort of the traditional school, but in an area where the schools haven't been able to be successful is called they call that a no excuses model a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And then what I wound up doing in Santa Clarita, and it was really, I didn't understand the politics back when I did it. I was pretty naive actually back then, saying just kind of, we need a charter school in Santa Clarita. Why don't we have one? And what they now call that quite often is suburban choice. So this is an area in Santa Clarita where our schools are doing a fantastic job. There's nothing to fix about our traditional schools. However, there is innovation, and there were really those two parts to the California law, was failing schools and innovative choices. And so that's where we fall into, is a different style. And by the nature of being choice, just a choice for families, they can opt in or opt out. And so that has spurred a lot of innovation and different trials to deliver education. And I would say it's been largely successful. So when you say there's some myths and misconceptions, and you might need to ask me some questions to make sure I cover it all. But the first one is that they're free. They're free to the public. And you can live anywhere in California and attend a charter school. It's not where the idea is, it's open enrollment and enrollment based. And there are some in that way that you can just opt in as a family member. And there are some states that have an open enrollment in the whole state. And that alone is innovative, or was innovative, especially when it started. More and more districts and areas are adopting that open enrollment. And it's interesting because it really does shift the dynamic to be a little bit more like the way private businesses are run, that you provide customer service, which is something that is kind of a newer thing to schools, because it used to be more like you show up and you get taught, and this is the way it is. And learning to be a little bit more flexible it seems to be increasing quality. And I will say, like, for the DMV, you get to choose which DMV you go to. You don't have to go to the one in your zip code.
Oh, that's a good point.
Doing something like that with the public agencies of schools, it's causing some interesting new positive dynamics, I think, and that's what charter schools started. The other thing is the Common Core standards, like them or don't like them, the project-based learning was sort of the inspiration for that. I wouldn't say Common Core is project-based, but a lot of the way they looked at it came from project-based learning, which was made popular and famous by charter schools. There's what are some other things? What are some other myths? Oh, credentialed teachers. Charter schools are obligated to follow a lot of the same things already that district schools do. But the idea of charter schools was higher accountability because we can be closed down for greater flexibility. And that was working really well for a couple of decades. In recent years, there have been more and more laws to say, look, we need to be, there's a general sentiment from some people that think we need to have all the same rules as traditional schools. Well, the problem with that is we already have higher accountability because we can be shut down. The district schools, they don't get shut down in the same way. They don't go up for review to see if they're allowed to continue to operate every 5 years, or actually now the new law is every 2 to 7 years. But they don't have that kind of in-depth review. So that alone gives us higher accountability. The other thing is charter schools can't stay open without enrollment, and they need to attract their kids. They need to inspire their families to choose them and retain them. So that also creates higher accountability right there. The other thing is part of the criteria for renewal is what does your academic data look like? What does your matriculation into college or career look like? So all of those things increase accountability as well. So one of the things with credentials, and that this has changed, and there are new laws that have changed this, but originally we did not have to have credentialed teachers. And that sounds like maybe we have low standards, but a lot of people don't realize that college professors don't necessarily have a K-12 credential. So the idea behind that law, the intent was you can hire either a working artist who might not have a credential, or somebody that is highly qualified, such as a college professor, but might not have that credential. So it gives the flexibility to go for other expertise. But there have been a lot of laws, and you alluded to this before, there have been a lot of laws that have been passed that have made some of that flexibility harder and harder. So that is a shame to me because it makes innovation, it restricts innovation because there's less flexibility. Is quality up in some areas? Yeah, it is. But a lot of us already did that anyways. From the get-go, even though when we first opened, we weren't required to have credentialed teachers, we did because that was just where the quality was, and that's what families wanted. So we did that, but maybe not in every area because we hired, a highly qualified personal trainer to teach PE maybe. Right. And now they need a credential. So that is, so some of those things, they might be good in one area, but not as good in another area, which makes it not necessarily, it's gray, not black and white,
It's a great example. I remember we used to have a criminal justice class that was taught by an attorney. Who better to teach a criminal justice class, but that's something that individual wasn't able to continue with because she didn't have a teaching credential. So obviously, exactly. we want high quality teachers in the classroom, but we it makes it a little bit more restrictive that we can't bring in those high quality practitioners sometimes if they're not like I said, highly qualified teachers. So really interesting history of California charters. I'm looking that the charter law was actually passed coming up on our 30-year anniversary in 1992. And so whether it's those more urban, high-stakes schools intended to improve communities or the suburban choice, where are we at now? What's the state of charter schools here in California?
Well, we're continuing to grow, and right now we have over 1,300 charter schools serving 11.5% of the students in California. In 1920, there were nearly 240,000 students enrolled in charter schools, which was a 7% increase over the previous year.
So that was 2019, 2020, just a couple years ago.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Today, there are well over 250,000 students enrolled in charter schools in California.
All right.
We've all heard about parents' frustration during the pandemic. in 2021, district schools lost 3.2% of their enrollment. By comparison, charter schools increased by 2.3%, which is an increase of over 15,000 students. And what that tells me is that, and people ask me this all the time, what did we do in our schools to adjust during the pandemic? And I say, well, we were already doing all the things that might be needed in a pandemic, not for that reason, but for personalization reasons that I spoke to earlier.
Sure.
And what happened was, during the pandemic, the rest of the world caught up to us in our iLEAD model. They realized the value of what we provide, what we were already providing, and they no longer think we're weird and there's no stigma around it anymore. Now they think, virtual Zoom, not always in-person meetings or classes makes a lot of sense. All of a sudden, it's great to have that flexibility. And before, it was weird and it was sort of forced. So it's been a really beautiful thing, and I do think that happened in charter schools statewide, nationwide, is that we were able to adapt and pivot because we're used to doing that all the time with changing legislation and changing market needs and new technology and new methods. We pivot and personalize on a regular basis very quickly. So the pandemic just gave us an opportunity to shine, which is why naturally, just a lot of teachers that weren't used to teaching in a virtual environment, they sort of took what they did in the classroom and did the same thing on Zoom. We had already looked at the areas that needed to be adjusted and we're ready to go for that. In fact, when the shutdown happened on a Friday, we'd already been training and preparing, so we opened up again on that following Monday, ready to go with all of our virtual materials and training and systems in place.
So that ability
and I think
Go ahead.
We're not the only charter school to do that. They all pivoted pretty quickly.
Yeah, and that ability to pivot and innovate is what kind of keeps us on the cutting edge of education. Amber, I know we've only got about 30 seconds left. Do you have just kind of a quick synopsis of what you see in the future for charter schools or the education space? I know it's a big question and we've only got a couple seconds.
I just see personalization and innovation. I think that's the future, and hybrid, not always in person and not always virtual is the future. That's my prediction.
Okay, so making sure that your kid is getting the education that fits their needs is what's going to continue to come. And if your kid's not getting exactly what they need, would you check us out at iLEADschools.org? Like Amber said, we've got a wide variety of options so that we can match exactly, or to the best of our ability, what your individual children need at the time that they need it. Amber, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Really quickly, are you ready to pick somebody for the Super Bowl? Do you have a team?
No, I just like to watch. In fact, what I really like to watch is halftime.
There we go. It's going to be a great halftime show. Amber, enjoy the game, enjoy the halftime show, and you have a wonderful weekend, okay?
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much, Matt.
You take care. This is SCVi and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
There are times when nothing else will do because you know exactly what you want. You want the Alamo, the taste of true Mexican cooking at its best. At Alamo, you're treated to a taste that is truly Mexican with an atmosphere to match. Enjoy a Cadillac margarita, try a mucho burrito, or sizzling fajitas. Voted the best Mexican food in the SCV and a favorite of former supervisor Mike Antonovich. Alamo Rotisserie in Granary Square, serving Santa Clarita for over 30 years.
It's murder, mystery, and mayhem at the Canyon Theater Guild. Usher in the new year with laughter and mystery at the hilarious comedy Whodunit, Clue on Stage. Was it Miss Scarlet in the kitchen with the wrench? Perhaps it was Mr. Green in the billiard room with the rope. Only one way to find out. Based on the popular board game and adapted from the cult classic film, Clue on Stage will keep audiences guessing and laughing to the very end. Get your tickets by calling 661-799-2702 or online at canyontheater.org.
Welcome to Dunkin', where safety for you and our crew is priority. Store employees now wear N95 masks. There's plexiglass between you and our crew. In addition, employee temperature checks and health questions are done at every shift change. Be sure to get the Dunkin' app and order online. Earn points and get rewards. Choose curbside pickup or delivery. Dunkin' has 2 locations in the SCV, Bouquet Canyon with curbside pickup and delivery, or try the Canyon Country drive-thru. Santa Clarita runs on Dunkin'.
When you think about your next place, maybe even your forever place, are you hearing more of this and less of this. Introducing 5 Point Valencia, a vibrant new community coming to the Santa Clarita Valley. A place with parks, trails, and fresh architecture, all tuned to the way people want to live today. New homes for all, with prices to match, from the low 400,000s to over $1 million. Learn more at valencia.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLEAD School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson, and it is trivia time. We were going to have producer Sarah call in for trivia today, but when engineer Andrew heard me take a shot at the Raiders, he decided that would not stand, and so he's joining us in the studio. Andrew, good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be here.
You know, I kid because I love. And now, for your entertainment purposes, it is time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Big T, he is a longtime resident and leader in the Santa Clarita Valley. He's an executive and philanthropist. He is an amazing father, husband, and a community leader. He's a man who has no enemies, but is intensely disliked by his friends. Here he is. He's Mom's favorite, Big T. Welcome to the show.
What's up, brother man? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm living large. How about you?
I'm doing okay. I'm up in Sacramento right now, getting ready to fly home soon.
Really? You're up in Sacramento?
Yeah.
Hey, can you tell me, where's the state capitol?
Hey, it's right over there.
All right, rock on. Thank you, sir. All right,
No
so
worries.
we've got some rules to this game here. We've got Andrew and Patty.
Hey-o.
Patty sounds like Maddie, so I'm gonna go with I'll go with Frogger this morning. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shout out our names. That's our buzzer. We gotta hit our buzzer. Shout out your name, gentlemen, if you want to ring in. But those of you at home, you've got an advantage. Don't shout out your name. You just call out the answer, and you can beat us. And you keep score at home. I'll keep score here in the studio. You ready, brother man?
I am. I had to adjust my fun fact just a little bit because you covered a little bit of it earlier, but it's some of the Super Bowl facts. So this is the fifth appearance by the Rams, third appearance by the Bengals.
Right.
The average cost of a ticket is about $6,200. You covered the cost of the ad, Matt. It's $6.5 million for 30 seconds, and this will be the second year in a row that Coke will not have an ad on Super Bowl Sunday.
Really?
However,
We've priced out
Anheuser-Busch,
Coca-Cola.
Yep.
Wow.
So Anheuser-Busch, though, is the big spender. Since 2006, they have dropped $482 million on Super Bowl commercials.
Wow. Well,
this will be the second year in a row that we have a home field advantage.
Yep.
I'm just throwing that out to all Raider fans because it's coming to Vegas in 2024, right?
That's right.
This will be the 8th time that the LA area is hosting, which is a $478 million financial impact to LA County. Now, fans were interviewed, and they said, what would they give up just to have their team win a Super Bowl? 52% said they would give up their vacation days. 31% said they'd give up their annual bonus. 14% said they would give up their savings account balance. And 5% said they would give up their 401k. Ridiculous.
Wow. 401k.
So, yeah. So
Have
the
you-
halftime show, Dr. Dre, Snoop,
Right.
Mary J. Blige, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, which caused Papa to say he likes his music like his candy without the rapper.
All right.
So for Big T.
Right.
70,000 people. 70,000 people are going to be there in attendance. About 69,000 will not get in fights. And then, of course, Monday morning, one dumb guy named Big T is going to be at LAX flying out with all those fools as I head to North Carolina.
Ouch! That's worse than flying the day before Thanksgiving.
Right.
All right.
So, let's get some trivia going. Let's get a little bit of Super Bowl still. Which team has played in the Super Bowl 4 times but has never led by a point? Frogger.
That would be the Bills.
Incorrect.
Patty.
They had a lead once.
Patty. Oh, gosh. I hate saying this. It's the Vikings.
It is the Vikings.
Wait a minute.
Oh, Dad, I'm sorry.
So I missed the fact.
Never had a lead.
They never had a lead. Wow.
They never had a lead.
Wow.
All right. What's the name of the Super Bowl trophy?
Andrew.
Andrew.
Lombardi.
Nick Lombardi Trophy, correct. Name the 2 quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl with 2 different teams.
Patty.
Frogger.
Patty, that's Frogger.
Joe Montana and Tom Brady.
Incorrect.
It's Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
That is correct. Nice pull, Frogger.
Oh.
What state makes the most cheese?
Frogger.
Frogger than Andrew.
That'd be Wisconsin.
Wisconsin is correct. Which state makes the second most
Andrew.
cheese?
Frogger.
Andrew.
I'm going California.
California is correct.
Our cows are happier, though.
Staying with some California trivia, what's the largest outdoor amphitheater in the U.S.?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Oh, you said California. It's got to be the Hollywood Bowl?
That's correct. Yeah. True or false?
Frogger.
Half of the fresh Frogger.
True.
It is true. Half of the fresh fruit in the U.S. comes from California.
All right. San Joaquin Valley in the house.
What's the California state flower?
Andrew.
Ooh.
The golden poppy?
Poppy's correct.
The golden poppy. Got the right variety, too. Way to go.
Yep. According to a 2020 census, what are the three largest cities in California?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego?
Incorrect. You got 2 out of 3.
Oh. Andrew. Let's
Andrew.
go. The third one. I'm going to go, I would say Oakland.
Incorrect. San Diego is on the list.
Oh.
Patty, you got anything?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be May. I don't know.
All right, so Los Angeles is number 1. San Diego is number 2, and San Jose.
I was thinking that.
Not San Francisco. Wow.
What California city is the raisin capital of
Frogger.
the world? Frogger.
Sacramento.
Incorrect.
Raisin. He got me. Andrew. Frisco.
Incorrect. Patty, you got anything?
San Bernardino.
Fresno. Fresno. What animal's on the state flag?
Patty.
Somebody's got to help me there.
I think it's Patty.
It's a bear.
Grizzly bear. Correct.
A big old mean bear.
Poor Patty. Who once told U.S. Customs officials, "I have nothing to declare but my genius"?
Frogger.
Frogger.
I did. No, that's not true. I'm going with Elon Musk. That sounds like him.
Incorrect. Anybody?
Nothing.
Oscar Wilde.
Wild, wacky
So
stuff.
what colors are in the flag of Nigeria?
Oh.
Boy, did that come out of left field.
Right?
Boy, that is left field.
Frogger.
Frogger, we're moving out of California, boys.
Yes, California. I'm going red, black, and green.
Incorrect. What colors?
That was a good
Andrew.
guess.
Green and white?
Andrew. Green and white are correct. Nice poll.
Whoa.
Wow.
On which island was Napoleon born?
Frogger.
Frogger.
That'd be Corsica.
Patty, what was your answer? I want to know.
Catalina.
Long.
I was gonna say the island of the country of Europe.
Oh, wow.
What fraction of the Earth is in the northern hemisphere?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Half.
What fraction? Half is correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'm so lost.
I'm a 4th grade teacher. I think half is a fraction still.
It is.
All right, cool.
What U2 song is on the live album with the disclaimer that this is not a rebel song?
Frogger.
Frogger.
1.
What's that?
1.
1 is incorrect.
Nuts.
Got me.
Let me tell you, it is a rebel song.
Nope.
Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Ooh. We get time for 2 more really quick.
All righty. What present-day Italian city does Mount Vesuvius overlook?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Pompeii.
Incorrect.
Dang it.
Nope.
Anybody?
I got nothing.
Naples.
Naples. All right.
And then last, name the river that flows through the Brazilian rainforest.
Frogger.
Frogger.
That'd be the Amazon.
Closes it out strong.
There we go. There we go. I take it 6-4-2. 2000 party over. Oops. We're out of time, Big T. Alrighty, thanks for popping by. I appreciate it. I also want to thank my guests, community activist Kelvin Driscoll, charter school leader Amber Golden Raskin, Big T, producer Sarah, engineer Patty, engineer Andrew. Thank you for listening, and join us again next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I'm Matt Watson, and this is SCVi, and iLEAD Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.